Today, I'm excited to share with you one of the most entertaining and humorous chess openings. There are several reasons why it's so intriguing. Firstly, this opening variation has caused many strong players to unexpectedly find themselves in a losing position as black in just 3 moves, which is truly remarkable. Secondly, it is a widely misunderstood opening, leading to significant disadvantages for those who don't grasp its nuances. However, this very misunderstanding creates a golden opportunity for you to achieve fantastic victories with just a couple of well-known moves. So, let me reveal the exciting chess opening I'm referring to. But wait, there's more. I've got an intriguing chess puzzle waiting for all of you. Be sure to stick around until the end to enjoy the complete experience. Let's dive into a fascinating and entertaining chess opening known as the Jobava London System. It all begins with the move pawn to d4, which is quite simple and not necessary to be familiar with the Queen's Gambit or anything complex. After d5, knight to c3, black responds with knight f6. Now comes the pivotal move, bishop f4, which officially initiates the Jobava London System. In recent years, thanks to the Georgian grandmaster's popularization of this opening at a high level, people have started viewing it as highly creative, unique, and almost like an otherworldly choice. To be honest, it's intriguing how some perceive it this way because, if you analyze the current position, it's essentially a mirrored Italian game. We've mirrored all of White's moves so far, and they are all quite standard and commonly played. The Jobava London System may not appear groundbreaking, but it's remarkable how many players struggle to handle it effectively. Often, one of the common reactions from black is to play knight to c6, which leads to a losing position right away. By mirroring the Italian game, the white knight moves to b5, executing a mirrored version of the fried liver attack. This move puts pressure on the c7 square, and black usually doesn't have a sufficient defense to counter it. As a result, white gains a winning position in just 3 moves. Following knight takes c7, the king and rook are under threat, forcing black to respond. Black's best chance is to play pawn to e5, sacrificing a pawn. However, white can continue the attack by capturing the pawn and renewing the threat. This situation might force black to trade pieces and further weaken their position. Overall, it's impressive how a seemingly straightforward opening can lead to such tactical advantages for white. Indeed, the surprises don't end with the initial moves in the Jobava London System. After white plays pawn takes on d5, attacking the black knight, black can respond by moving their knight to e4, g4, or d7, but it won't really matter. The real shocker comes when white plays queen takes d5. At first glance, it may seem like a blunder, leaving the queen hanging for capture, but that's not the case. If black captures the queen, and here's the crucial point, it turns out that knight takes c7 is a fork to the black queen and king. So, even if it appears that white made an inexplicable mistake by offering the queen, it's actually a brilliant tactical sequence that forces black into a disastrous position, losing their queen or facing a fork between their queen and king. After executing the brilliant tactical sequence with knight takes d5 and capturing 3 pawns, white gains a commanding position with opportunities to castle queenside and continue attacking. The significant material advantage and superior position put black in a challenging situation. Now, let's explore another option if black chooses to play knight f6 as the first move. The game's trajectory remains quite similar, with white still playing knight to c3 and threatening to advance e4 to control the center. When black responds with d5, it leads to the same variation, and white plays bishop to f4. At this point, black must be cautious about the threats, and playing knight to c6 would lead to an immediate loss. Instead, black often plays pawn to e6, intending to support the center and potentially attacking white's central pawn. However, this move can be met with pawn to e3, developing white's pieces. Now, black may play pawn to c5, a standard move in the Queen's Gambit, with the intention of attacking white's center. But even here, white can still create problems for black by playing knight to b5. Black might respond with knight to a6, trying to find an escape route for the knight, but after pawn to c3, white gains a position similar to the Jobava London system. However, in this case, white has the advantage of the strong knight on d5, which controls essential squares and restricts black's movement. The knight on a6 becomes a sad example of a trapped piece in the ring Dutch formation. In this position, black may feel frustrated and attempt to create counterplay, but their options are limited, which ultimately works in white's favor. Indeed, black's move bishop to d7 attempts to exert pressure on white's knight on d5, but the knight is adequately defended, so it doesn't pose a real threat. Nevertheless, to ensure the knight's safety and avoid any potential blunders, white can opt to overprotect it by playing pawn to a4, creating a secure environment for the knight. Black, feeling somewhat uncomfortable, might play bishop to b5, targeting white's bishop. After white captures the black bishop on b5 with a check to king, black moves their knight back, and white proceeds with the move knight to f3, creating a potential threat of knight to e5, exploiting the pin on the black knight. Facing annoyance from white's pieces, the most common response from black is knight to c7 would be a blunder, as white can easily eliminate this knight, and then execute the threat of knight to e5, leading to the loss of black's knight, and subsequent attack on the black king. Let's analyze the situation where black plays pawn to h6, intending to prevent white from jumping the knight to e5, which caused troubles in previous variations. After h6, white plays pawn to e3, and black responds with pawn to e6. Now, there are some nuances and specific moves that might be relevant when playing against a titled player who is well versed in this opening system. However, in most cases, about 99% of the time, you don't need to worry about those intricate details, especially if you're not facing a titled player. So, let's keep it simple and straightforward. White plays knight to f3, and now, if black chooses to play bishop to d6, you don't have to react much, because your bishop is already defended on f4. You can simply continue developing your pieces without any problems. If black decides to trade bishops, you'll get an excellent outpost square on e5, which is favorable for white. However, the more interesting move for black is pawn to c5. This move allows black to challenge white's central control and aim for counterplay. In the continuation of the Jobava London system, white faces a little problem when considering the typical development move of the bishop to d3. Black employs the move c4, pushing the bishop back, which feels uncomfortable. So, the best course of action is to capture the pawn on c5 first, eliminating the potential threat, and then develop the bishop to d3. Once both sides have developed their pieces, a key move arises: pawn to e4. This move is essential, as it enables white to break through in the center of the board, supported by their minor pieces. The advance puts pressure on black's position, forcing them to consider whether to push e5 to attack the knight, or to capture on e4 and create a passed pawn. White may opt to kick the knight back by moving it to d7, which is an acceptable move for white. However, an even stronger response is to play pawn to e5, immediately confusing black. If black captures the knight, white retaliates by capturing their knight, exposing the black king. Alternatively, black often captures the pawn on e4, aiming to keep their king safe. But after bishop to g5, black's position becomes almost resignable because their queen on f6 becomes trapped. This tactic is essential to remember, as even strong players may fall for this trap. In most cases, black doesn't fall for the trap and captures the pawn on e4, leading to a series of trades and positioning white's knight actively. The game continues, and white's position remains strong, with various attacking possibilities in the middle game. After the series of exchanges, black often makes yet another positional error by playing queen takes d1, thinking that by trading off pieces, they can reduce the power of white's attack. However, this move leads to a significant positional advantage for white. In this position, black is almost paralyzed, unable to move their bishop out without it being captured, or fearlessly castling, because moving the b-pawn forward would result in losing the knight on c6. Meanwhile, white's two bishops exert strong pressure around the entire board, providing dominant positional advantages. Black struggles to find any decent moves, leaving them clueless on how to respond effectively to white's relentless pressure. This is a common situation because once there are no straightforward threats for black to carry out, they often become uncertain and lack a clear plan, allowing white to take advantage of the situation and crush them strategically. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.